Hello, welcome back to Just a Verse. My name is Bridget, and my goal on this channel is for you to get a deeper understanding of a Bible verse. So I elaborate on a Bible verse and support the Bible verse with stories, instances, and experiences. So we're not going to waste time. Let's jump right into the verse of the day. The verse we're going to be working on is Genesis chapter 32, verse 28. Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with man and have prevailed. Like always, before we elaborate on that verse, let me just go ahead and give a brief summary of that whole chapter. But I suggest that you do read that whole chapter, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a brief summary so that you could know where we derived that verse from. This chapter was about Jacob. Jacob had left his uncle, who he served for 20 years. He had left his place to the promised land, right? Back to his parents' land. During this time, Jacob was in preparation to meet his brother Esau. Hopefully, you do know the story of Jacob and Esau. Now, Jacob was now grown, so he was getting prepared to meet his brother Esau. So he was terrified during this time. So during this time, he just divided the camps because he was with family, wives, and made with animals, right? So he divided them into two camps. Okay, so during the night, Jacob was left alone. When it was daybreak, a man, right, came and wrestled with Jacob. So as they were wrestling, Jacob wasn't letting this man go. So the man hit Jacob on his hip, but then Jacob kept wrestling. And then the man said, "Let me go." But then Jacob said, "No, he is not going to let this man go until the man blesses him." That was when the man asked him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And then he said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God, with man, and have prevailed." So now, if we relate it into our daily lives, right, how could that verse be interpreted as? So we are going to interpret that verse as being uncomfortable or getting out of your comfort zone and God blessing you while you're out of your comfort zone or while you're uncomfortable. Because when we pay attention to that verse, right, Jacob was wrestling with God, with the man, and his hip was even hit, but he just kept wrestling. So we could see that as being uncomfortable. Even though he was uncomfortable, he just kept going. And then that was when God changed his name. We could perceive that sometimes you have to be uncomfortable until you could receive your blessings. You have to get out of your comfort zone. So, we're going to provide some instances that would support our interpretation for you to really understand that verse. Somebody is really excellent in helping people. She is really good at transforming people's life, right? Like speaking to transform their life. However, it's so difficult for this person to speak in a larger audience, right? For that case, in order for this person to receive the blessing that they're looking for, she has to challenge herself that, okay, you know what? This is really uncomfortable. This is out of my comfort zone. But because I could discern that if I do that, I'm going to receive my blessings, I am going to challenge myself. So now This person, she decides that whenever she goes to like a large group, she offers to help. Can I speak to people? So this person will just keep doing this, will keep speaking and speaking and speaking, even though they're uncomfortable. They're speaking really uncomfortable, like, this is out of my comfort zone. This person will keep wrestling because they're saying, I am going to keep wrestling. I am going to keep being out of my comfort zone until I see that something good come out of this. So this person will keep being uncomfortable, keep speaking in a large audience, and then one day somebody in the audience will notice this lady, and then the person is invited, right, to speak at a White House, the president's house. You see, something good came out of it because she got out of her comfort zone and kept being uncomfortable until she received her blessings. This person, he has a group of friends that these friends are corrupting his character, but then he cannot detach himself from them because he feels like his source of happiness comes from his friends. And he always thinks that, if he separates himself from them, he is going to be lonely. So he thinks of how lonely he's going to be, and he thinks of the joy that he obtains whenever he's with the friends. So now this person decides that, okay, that his character is really getting out of hand. He really wants to receive his blessings from God. So now he just decides that even though it's going to be uncomfortable for him being alone, being by himself without his friends, it's uncomfortable. That's something that he's not accustomed to. But then he just decides that he's going to get out of his comfort zone. He's just going to keep wrestling until something good happens. So even though it's so difficult for him, most days he wakes up and say, I really miss my friends. I really want to be with them. But then he says, you know what? I am going to keep wrestling. Even though I'm hurt, I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to keep wrestling. So this person keeps being out of his comfort zone. And then God just helps this person. This person now, character has improved so much. And now God has blessed him physically and spiritually, getting out of his comfort zone and receiving his blessings during that uncomfortable state. There is an obstacle in your life, and you have been wrestling and wrestling. It's so uncomfortable because this obstacle or this storm hasn't ceased. But then you are saying that even though this feels really unease, even though this is uncomfortable, but this year I am going to keep wrestling, because that's exactly what Jacob was doing. Jacob was uncomfortable even when his hip was hit, but Jacob kept wrestling because he was expecting a blessing from the man. So I am going to be just like Jacob, regardless of how uncomfortable this situation is. I will keep wrestling, because sometimes when you are close to your breakthrough, that's when the enemy tries you. That's when it gets so hard. So then you have in mind that I will just keep wrestling until I receive my blessings. I will keep wrestling. So you keep wrestling, getting out of your comfort zone, then God comes through for you because you got out of your comfort zone. I am here to tell you that sometimes it's okay to be uncomfortable. Uncomfortable doesn't mean defeat. Uncomfortable means keep persisting until you receive your blessings from God in that wrestling stage, in that uncomfortable state. If you feel like it's so hard for you to get up early to pray, or for you to pray at midnight, or if you feel like it's so hard for you to fast, this year, challenge yourself that I am going to get out of my comfort zone, even though it is so hard for me to get up in the morning. But let me try something new this time because it's so uncomfortable for me. Let me try it because maybe in that uncomfortable stage, that's when I will receive my blessings. So you challenge yourself by getting out of your comfort zone. So this year, challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone. Whatever that it is, that it looks so uncomfortable, go for it and pursue that thing, because in that uncomfortable stage, that's where your blessings lie. I cannot wait for you to say that you do not regret for getting out of your comfort zone this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that this video blessed you. And if somebody came into your mind while you were watching this video, share this video to that person and God will bless you. Thank you so much once again, and see you when I upload my next video. Bye.